When the new Battle Royale game mode for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Warzone, first was announced, I was skeptical, but since it was free to play, I decided that I was going to give it a try. But not only that, I wanted to give it a fair shot. Go into the game with an open mind with no previous Call of Duty experiences tarnishing my opinion. Like many others, I used to love Call of Duty games, but the last Call of Duty game that I actually enjoyed and could still go back to and play today is Black Ops 1. So it's fair to say it's been a while since I've had a good experience with the series. The games were either more of the same or full of frustrating moments, and Call of Duty just wasn't enjoyable to me anymore. And as a result of that, I kind of swore off Twitch shooters in general. But then out of nowhere it seems, a different type of game came along. Now before we get started, make sure to like the video if you enjoy and subscribe to stay up to date on everything that I publish. Since the day it released on Xbox, I've been playing PUBG and I've basically been addicted to the game, you could say. The feeling PUBG gave me was nothing like I've had before in a video game. Those moments of despair and pure joy cannot be found in standard multiplayer shooters in my opinion. I enjoyed the game so much and I had such a good time playing it, I decided to start covering it on YouTube and I haven't really looked back. Now since PUBG has come out, many other games have taken a stab at their own version of Battle Royale, and while some of them have been successful, they never really caught my attention, and I never really felt the urge to dive into those new games to find out more. That is, until Call of Duty Warzone came out. I had concerns about the game right from the start. 150 people in each match. Will there ever be a moment to take a breath and relax? Will there be any downtime at all? Also, PUBG runs so poorly on console with 100 players in the lobby. How is it going to be possible to play with 150 and hold double the frame rate of PUBG at 60 frames per second? A respawn feature in the game called the Gulag, and the ability to buy back fallen teammates, won't this cheapen the Battle Royale experience? Kill streaks and loadouts in a Battle Royale game? Something that definitely sounds like it would make a game unbalanced. And finally, even if it's a fun shooter, will it ever be as intense as a Final Circle in PUBG? Now luckily playing Warzone for just a few days answered all those questions and many more, and I can safely say that it is a major contender in the Battle Royale genre. And to my surprise, it's going to be pulling me away from PUBG more than I originally thought. At first I thought I'd just try it out and play a few matches and just see how it was, compare it to PUBG, and then be done with it because PUBG is so good, I'd be going right back to it. But now there's some doubt in my mind which game I actually want to fire up. Now let's start it off right from the beginning. The map is huge and probably around the same size as Erangel. Like a lot of Battle Royales, there are a number of great places to jump, and with 150 players in each match, you're likely to find someone to fight without much effort if you want to fight. However, that doesn't mean you can't avoid confrontation if you want to. There are plenty of other different little compounds around the area that you can still get good loot at, where you likely won't have to fight right away. So it's around the same size as Erangel, but the thing that makes the Warzone map a little bit different is that it's just filled to the brim with compounds and locations to loot. Unlike the barren loot wastelands of Miramar and the spread out small compounds on Erangel, you won't have much trouble finding loot in Warzone. The loot is kind of compared to what we have on Sanhok. And the looting system in Warzone is pretty impressive as well. The auto pickup feature works really well, and not having to worry about your health, just armor, makes the game less cumbersome. You hardly ever have to check your inventory, and after some practice, sharing your ammo and armor with teammates is pretty simple. Another thing that I like that I was unsure about is the Gulag and the ability to buy back your teammates after they die. While I do think there should be a time very late into the game that you're unable to buy back your team, I think this system works pretty good. Let me just ask you this, how many times in PUBG have you died early on in the match and then you're forced to watch your teammates for the next 15 to 20 minutes as they try and win that chicken dinner? Or how many times in a full squad have you gotten down to one person left after a drop, and then again you either have 3 teammates watching one person play, or that person just decides to end it so that you can all play together again. Now this is a very common occurrence for me in my squad in PUBG, but in Warzone that basically goes out the window. The fact that you can fight your way back into the match through a 1v1 in the Gulag is awesome. It's pretty brilliant. You can only do this once per match, and if you're unsuccessful, your teammates will have to buy you back. It gives you a real good chance to make up for your initial loss, and it gives you that in-game feeling very early into the game. I think I get more nervous in my 1v1 in the Gulag than I do in any other gunfight I've had. But even if you lose your fight in the Gulag, like I said, your team can scrounge up enough cash, $4,500, to bring you back, releasing you from your constraints and spectator hell. That's the beauty in Warzone. There's always a chance you'll be brought back into the match and keeping you engaged and keeping you from wanting to back out and start all over again. Even if you're down to one player, there's that chance that you can run into a team, collect enough cash, and bring everyone back. The buy station also lets you purchase more armor, loadouts, kill streaks, and more, but I don't think it makes the game as unbalanced as I thought originally. And the reason being is because everyone has access to this system, and these buy stations are all over the place. It doesn't make going to them all that risky unless the circle is really small. It is true that I usually go to the buy station and act really quickly so that I don't get shot in the meantime. But like I said, they're all over the place, they're pretty spread out. It's not a guarantee that you're going to have to fight in order to buy someone back. Also, after playing the game for a few hours, if you start from scratch like me, I didn't have any loadouts whatsoever when I started. I started at level 1. Once you play a little bit, you'll level up really fast in the Warzone mode. Then you'll be able to deck out some of your weapons and gear so that you can take advantage of the loadout crates, just like all these Call of Duty Modern Warfare veterans.
Mark out, moving.
Another great feature in the game is the gas. The gas in Warzone is very punishing, so punishing that you're actually scared of being caught in it. You can survive longer if you find a gas mask, but still, any prolonged period in the gas will end in death. I think this is a massive improvement over other BRs, as it forces players to move and move often. This limits the amount of camping and vulturing that can occur at the edge of the zone, and I think in general just makes for more tense gameplay when you know you have to get moving, otherwise you're gonna die. Now on to arguably the most important part of a Battle Royale game, its intensity. The moment-to-moment gameplay in Warzone is just as intense as PUBG in my opinion. Now that's just my opinion, you might think differently, and that's okay. And from the time that I've had with the game, I have experienced that the endgame circles are very terrifying as well. Especially once the gas starts rolling in and there's limited cover, it makes for some tense moments. Not to mention it's much harder to win a 1v2 fight in Warzone compared to PUBG. It would make it even more special if you're able to overcome those odds and pull out the victory. Plus, if you win, you get to see that sweet cinematic at the end, showing your team escaping in the chopper. Now this point might be because the game is very new. I've only played it a few days like I said. So over time will Warzone kind of wear off and it won't be as intense. Final Circle will feel more like a shooter. It's really impossible for me to say right now. But what I can say right now is that the game definitely has intense moments and it reminds me of when I first started playing PUBG. Basically what I'm saying is Warzone does not lack in the feelings category. It definitely gives you a reason to come back time and time again. To summarize, Warzone is a very well-made, highly polished game mode that takes a lot of ideas from existing battle royales and adds its own spin to the genre, making it quite unique. Do I think it can overtake PUBG as the best battle royale in my opinion at least? I actually think it can. Playing a huge map like this with 150 players at 60 frames per second on console is a feat in itself. The fact that it's also a lot of fun to play with your friends is just a bonus. Now like I said, time will tell if Warzone has the longevity to stick around as long as PUBG has, and maybe even further, who knows? With Call of Duty, you never know what's going to happen because next year they're going to come out with another game, so will Warzone just evolve or will it just be completely scrapped and then the next year's version will have something different? No one really knows at this point. All I know is that it's free to play, I downloaded it, and I'm having a ton of fun with it right now, and that's good enough for me. Going free to play was such a smart idea, and with PUBG being in a pretty poor state right now on console, Warzone couldn't have come at a better time. I feel like no matter what your opinion is on PUBG or the Battle Royale genre, you have to admit some of the things in Warzone are really great. And even if Call of Duty is not your thing, you would like to see PUBG be able to succeed where Warzone does. Now does this mean I'm quitting PUBG? Of course not. PUBG is still a great game and I've had tons of fun with it over the years. This is just something brand new and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I thought I'd go through and make a video showing everything that I like about the game and kind of compare it to PUBG just so you can see what it's all about. So if you haven't given it a try yet, it is a huge download if you don't have Call of Duty already, but I do think it's worth a try. It's definitely the closest battle royale to PUBG that I've found so far, just because it's more realistic compared to things like Apex Legends, Fortnite, and all the other ones. And I think it's a massive improvement from what I saw with Black Ops 4. I didn't play that one, but from everything I've seen and everything that I've read, it just was not nearly as good and as polished as Call of Duty Warzone. Just the sheer scale of the maps, you have buildings that are 10 stories high that you can get on the roof and then jump off of. You have helicopters that you can fly around and shoot people out of them with your team. You can actually use the blades of the helicopter to take people out. It's just a lot of fun. It might not be the most realistic battle royale out there since your guy has like 45 parachutes in his backpack, but at the end of the day, video games are supposed to be fun and entertaining, and Call of Duty Warzone delivers. Make sure to like the video if you found it useful and subscribe to stay up to date on everything that I publish. You can also follow me on Twitter at YTBoris15. But with all that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time, I'll see you later.